Hello and welcome. My name is Jason Levine, and I am the Principal Worldwide Evangelist for Adobe Creative Cloud and our video tools. And for the next 20 minutes or so, I'm going to be talking to you about Adobe Creative Cloud and how it applies to video professionals. But more importantly, I'm going to give you the why. Why we have moved to Creative Cloud. There's still a lot of misconceptions out there. There's still a lot of people wondering if we're ever going to see the boxed days again, what's happened to the Creative Suite, and then just some misunderstandings about sort of how the cloud works. So I'm really here to educate you about why we moved to the cloud, what it's all about, what you actually get as a Creative Cloud member, all the various tools and services and apps that you know, and many I'm sure that you don't know, and then also sort of giving you the overall story of how we got to where we are today. Okay, so to start, let's start talking about some of the things that even after 18 months, we're basically 18 months into Creative Cloud after rebranding Creative Suite and moving away from that. And as I travel around the world, there are still a lot of misconceptions. There's still a lot of things that are not quite clear to people about the Creative Cloud. First misconception is that when people hear Creative Cloud, they think cloud computing, and they assume, I'm running Photoshop in the browser. I don't want to run Photoshop in the cloud or the browser. I don't want to run Premiere in a browser. And you are not. You are still downloading and running the applications on your desktop as you always did. The installation process has been completely changed, completely revamped, and I'm sure we all remember the very glorious installation process before, right? Whether you were going from a physical disk or even from a digital download of, say, the master collection or a suite. You'd get a zip file or a DMG and you'd unpack it, and then you'd go through this process and you'd put in your serial number, and then you'd click through a bunch of dialogues and you would select the applications that you wanted, and then you would click through some more dialogues, and then you would wait because you couldn't do anything while it was installing, and then at that point you could start working with your software. But if you had a Mac and you accidentally bought the PC version, too bad, because it was a Mac box and it was a PC box, right? Well, today, as you'll see in a few minutes when I show you our Creative Cloud for Desktop app, it's one click. If you want to install Photoshop, click. There's no serial numbers. Why? Because everything is tied to your Adobe ID. Your Adobe ID, which you can sign up for free today if you don't already have one, is your Adobe digital identity, and it ties you to every property that we have in the Creative Cloud. So one-click install. By the way, you can also one-click install Mac or PC. It doesn't matter. We don't care. So it automatically knows what version to grab. You can do it very simply, and it's just much more elegant. But again, you are running them on the desktop as you always have. Second misconception is that you need to be connected all the time to the Creative Cloud, and that is untrue. Now today, you have up to 99 days that you can be offline. Now when you are online, we periodically will check in the background just to validate your Adobe ID. But ultimately, this is seconds. You'll never know that it's happening. 99 days offline. After the first 30, we'll start prompting you that you need to get online to just validate your software. So again, we'll keep alerting you every 15, 20 days or so until you kind of hit that 99-day mark. Number 3, that you cannot share files with non-Creative Cloud members, and this is also false. And once again, I'm going to show you in a few moments. I'm sure many of you use other file sharing storage services. Okay. Difference with Creative Cloud is that we do things specifically with Adobe-generated files, i.e. PSD, AI Illustrator files, INDD, InDesign files, that no one else can do. And yes, you can in fact share and have your clients comment, and they don't have to have the software, and they don't need to be Creative Cloud members to see files that you share with them. The fourth one here, and this is the most common misconception, and we heard this a lot, especially amongst broadcasters, is that you don't have control over when these updates occur, that we install them automatically, and that is totally false. Now, as an individual Creative Cloud member, you have complete control over when this happens, when new updates come. And again, part of this era of Creative Cloud, of agile development, is that we're releasing stuff all the time now, right? Applications, we don't have to time the release of everything simultaneously. Updates are happening all the time across all these various apps. You're alerted, there's a notification in your Creative Cloud desktop app, but we absolutely do not force the installation upon you. If you are a Creative Cloud for Teams or Enterprise member, you will then have access to something which is the Administration Console, the Creative Cloud Administration Console. And as the administrator, you can then deploy specific updates to anyone in your organization. So in the terms of like a broadcast environment, let's say that we're We've got a picture that we're finishing. Video department, you've already locked picture, locked sound, we're ready to go. You guys are done with the edit, fine. We can push the Premiere After Effects speed grade updates to you. Design department, you're still working on some of the design elements. I don't know if we want to push you to the new Photoshop yet. We're going to hold off on you guys. And web, you've already built the site. We're just waiting for the content and the design so you guys can get the latest updates of Dreamweaver and Muse, etc. Okay? So you have total control over who gets updates, what and when in both of those team and enterprise environments. Again, number 5, we do indeed have enterprise solutions. And number 6 is that you don't have choices, that we force upon you the entire Creative Cloud, and that is not true. First and foremost, you can do individual application subscription. So if you've got a job coming up, you need After Effects, you only need it for 10 days, you don't really feel like you want to subscribe for a year, fine. You can do a month to month, you can get After Effects for 30 days, boom, finish the job, and you're done. That's it. One-time charge. Now, we also have the Photoshop Photography plan, which includes Photoshop, Lightroom Mobile on the iPad and iPhone, 20 gigs of storage, and Behance for $9.99 a month. It's a pretty sweet deal. Then, of course, you also have the entire Creative Cloud. So you do have choices. All right. This next slide here, this is not stuff that you don't already know, but this really kind of illustrates the why, right? This is why you're sitting here. Why Creative Cloud? Why can't I have my box? Why can't I have a DVD installer? Well, I'm going to tell you why. So 1 year ago on this very stage, I was standing there, and across the way here was Red, and they had their booth, and they were showcasing the Red Dragon 6K camera, showing 6K. And on that same day, when they were premiering it to everybody here at IBC, I was here showing Red Dragon 6K natively R3D playing live in the Premiere Pro timeline. Because despite the fact that the previous June, 2.5 months earlier, so June 2013, just like 2014, we had released a huge, that was CC, that was the original CC of Premiere Pro. By August, we'd already been updating. So when we came to IBC, we were showing the fruits of our labors. We already had Red Dragon 6K natively playing live in the timeline in Premiere, right? We saw that the industry was changing, we worked with them, we got it, you need it, we had it, and we had it before anybody. And we still do. Now, in the box days, we had 18 to 24 month cycles. Do you guys remember this? In the Creative Suite days, 18 to 24 months. So if June 2013 we release CSX, and then so-and-so comes out with a 6K format, I'd be standing here and I'd say, well, sorry guys, you can't have that until 2016, because we just don't update that frequently. Somehow that worked for us in the early parts of the millennium, right? Because when you think about how technology has exponentially changed, the rapid pace of change, today that just doesn't fly anymore, right? In video alone, cameras, codecs, formats, every month there's something new. We couldn't wait. We couldn't wait to box it up. We couldn't wait to have to put it on a disk. We couldn't wait to have to write physical documentation, which then gets put in a box, which then gets sent to you. No, it doesn't work that way anymore. How many of you 5 years ago were using Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram? 5 years ago using Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. One hand, you and me, sir, that's it. 3 years ago, how many of you were using Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram? 3 hands. Today, how many of you are using Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram? All hands for those not watching on TV. Of course, because all of us are experiencing the explosion of mobile. Not only on our smartphones, not only email and all the obvious things, but we're consuming content there. We're more socialized than ever, and that's within the last 3 years. Rapid change, ridiculous change, exponential change, we needed to change, and that's why we moved to the Creative Cloud. But it's also about this notion of super connected worlds, right? It's not enough to just have your applications talking to each other, which we do, but it's the desktop and mobile associated with your fonts and Typekit, which is, again, I'll talk about momentarily as part of your plan, your community with Behance and ProSite, Cooler for your colors and swatches, Lightroom Mobile for your imagery, and then the Creative Cloud for your storage. It's about all of these elements being connected and allowing you the flexibility to connect and access these things from anywhere in the world. And once again, if we were in the boxed Creative Suite environment, we'd be missing out. You'd be missing out. And we simply can't develop and won't develop like that anymore. So this is the era of Creative Cloud. This is the era and the constant promise of continuous innovation. And that's how we got here, and that's where we are today. Now, along with new software, we've also innovated new ideas on tablets. So in 2014, June, we released Lightroom Mobile, which I just mentioned. Also, Photoshop Mix, which I showed earlier today, a photo and compositing application on the iPad. We also have Adobe Sketch, which is a free-form drawing tool. By the way, all of these are free via the App Store. All you need is an Adobe ID to use them. You don't even need to be a paid member to use them. And we also have Adobe Line, which is a precision drawing tool. But we didn't even stop there, because as people started working in various apps, even before our own on tablets, they said, you know, it's not really easy to sort of draw straight lines on a tablet. Circles, that's another thing altogether. Precision, you know, lacking. So we came up with some new hardware, Adobe Ink, which looks like a stylus, but in fact, it is a Creative Cloud connected pen. This unique Bluetooth pen, hydroformed aluminum with a triple twist, feels amazing in your hand, but it contains your Adobe identity. It contains your Adobe identity. So inside this pen, you have not only your swatches, your colors, your brushes, your clipboard clippings, all kinds of things contained here. And wherever you go, your Adobe identity follows you. Along with this new Creative Cloud connected pen, we also developed Adobe Slide, which is a digital ruler to allow you to draw precisely straight lines, French curves, circles, concentric circles, triangles, stamp packs of various types of clip art and imagery on an iPad for the first time with complete accuracy. You can get these today. They're available now. So again, sometimes getting inspiration from all different arenas. Okay? But ultimately, it's about all of these things together. Your apps, whether on desktop or mobile, filtering into your assets, your files, your photos, your fonts, your colors, and the community. And I can't emphasize enough, especially in our video domain here, how much more we are sort of embedded with community today, right? The video community has grown. The interest in the communities have grown. And it's the community that often feeds back a lot of the features that you're seeing showcased here today, that you're seeing revealed here this week. Community input. All right? So this is all what makes up the Creative Cloud. Now, if you want to talk more about this after we're done today, either on Twitter or Facebook, the hashtag is Team Adobe. You can ask questions, you can tell us what you like. I'm on Twitter as BeatleJase. Beatle like the Beatles, B-E-A-T-L-E-J-A-S-E. All right. So let's move now to actually experiencing the Creative Cloud as a whole. So how many of you in the last 2 months, or since June 18th, have been to Adobecom? I've seen this, okay? 5, okay, more so than the last few days, about 7 hands. And for the rest of you, haven't been in a while. This is the new Adobecom. It's going to look very different. You'll recall the previous Adobecom was kind of a standard 3-column, white background, 9-point text, lots of stock corporate imagery. Didn't really give the impression of a 30-year-old creative company, right? Kind of looked like a very standard site. So that had to change too, and it has significantly. So the first thing you'll notice, and the first thing I will tell you, is that now Adobecom is the hub to all of our properties in Creative Cloud. When you sign in, and you actually sign in to Adobe Creative Cloud with your Adobe ID, to Adobecom with your Adobe ID, it's personalized. Welcome, Jason, that's me right there. And from here now I can access all of these various elements directly. And these are my elements, so it's not just the apps and add-ons mobile, but when I click on files, it takes me to my files in Creative Cloud storage. When I click on Lightroom photos, it goes to my Lightroom collections. My fonts, my colors, my Behance network. Okay? It's a single sign-on as well, so one time. This is a big deal. I don't want to undersell that too. So when you go to desktop, this now lets you, this is where you would begin. Now, if you've never used Creative Cloud, You click on download, it's actually going to take you to a page and tell you, oh, actually what you need is the Creative Cloud desktop app. This is where you will begin to install all of your applications, and you can actually see that up here. So we're going to go through that real quickly. So the Creative Cloud desktop app basically contains 4 panels. You have the home panel here, and the home panel gives you all of your various activity in Creative Cloud. So you can see I've been installing a bunch of things over the last few days. Got some appreciations of my work on Behance. You can see it down here in comments and things like that. You then have the apps panel. And this is where you actually perform the installs. Now again, we talked about the previous installation experience, but in Creative Cloud, let's say I wanted to, let's go ahead and install, how about Fireworks? Nah, let's go ahead and do, how about this? Edge Reflow. Click install. The only thing you have to do is put in your administrator password, and we're done. It is now installing. We can keep on working, okay? That's it. It's as simple as clicking it, and it installs. There is no installer. Someone's like, oh, where does it download the installer to? No, that's gone. Why should you have to deal with that? You are trying to be creative. Why do you not, gone. That's what I have to say to that. This is awesome because you can keep working. It's happening in the background, right? Single click to install applications. Then we have our assets. Oh, and by the way, it's worth pointing out, you can also go back to previous versions. So if I wanted to install Photoshop CS6 or the original CC, I can do that as well right from here. Now you can see that Edge Reflow has just been installed. We're all done. Okay? Under Assets, you've got your files. So again, view on the web, this is our Creative Cloud file storage. This is actually my personal Creative Cloud storage, so you're going to see some pictures of friends and family and kids up here. And I've got everything from JPEGs to MP3s, MP4 video, some ProRes video, QuickTimes, Illustrator files, Photoshop Touch files, Ideas files. But let's actually talk about Photoshop files for a moment here. So remember that one comment about, sharing content with a client. All right. Well, first of all, when you open up any file, PSD file in this case, you go to the Details panel. This is going to tell you all the basic information. The file type, when it was created, how big it is, the dimensions. Notice down here, does anybody know what this is? This is an ASE file. This is your Adobe Swatch Exchange file. So based on whatever imagery you bring into Creative Cloud, it will automatically generate the Illustrator swatch for you, which you can drag right into Illustrator and now also into Adobe After Effects as well. So it builds the ASE for you. Okay, that's not revolutionary, but it's different from some of the other services out there. And then you have your activity panel here, which this is obviously going to give you, this is where you would be sort of collaborating with your client, right? Because this is where they can comment and tell you what they think about this particular image. You also have the ability to version your content. So again, if you've got a client or if you've got another person that you're collaborating with, you've got a shared collaboration folder in Creative Cloud storage, every time a version of this PSD is saved to that folder, it creates a new version, and you can always scroll back in time. You can always restore back to the original. So you've got versioning and version history. But the one thing that nobody else has is this here, a layers panel. Because as mentioned, not only does your client need not be a Creative Cloud member to share files with you, or you share them with them, they don't even need Photoshop installed when you share a PSD and view this layers panel, because it's rendering all of these layers in the browser, similarly with Illustrator files. So in this case, my colleague Patrick, I had sent him a still frame. This is from a film called Wayland Song by Richard Jobson, and I wanted him to do some color grading on this image for me, which I could then take into speed grade and kind of match the color. So Patrick did a whole series of layers here that contain different looks or different sort of adjustment layers. So you'll see here that as I click on them, I can turn them on and off. And again, these layers are rendering the browser. This could be your client. You could say, okay, I just did a whole series of different color corrections on this image. Tell me which of these layers you like. They don't need to have Photoshop. They don't need to be a member. They can still do all this. So they can start going through, okay, here's what it looks like with curves, okay? Here's what it looks like with photo filter. Here's what it looks like with color balance. And I think when Patrick did this for me, he assumed I would only choose one. As it turned out, I liked sort of all of them on at the same time. Not the black and white one. That one didn't exactly do it for me. That looks creepy. But all the rest of these look awesome. So again, now I would go into my activity feed. I could comment and tell him what I thought. You get the idea. The point is we're rendering Photoshop layers in the browser. Same with Illustrator. What if you have an InDesign file? You just created an INDD file of a magazine for your customer and they want to be able to page through it. They don't have InDesign. Are you going to export a PDF or do something? Well, I suppose you could. Or just share it with them in the Creative Cloud. They can page through it in Creative Cloud. You can page through the entire InDesign document. So you have a lot of flexibility when it comes to working with native Photoshop files, native Adobe generated files inside Creative Cloud file storage. Additionally here, you've got fonts, and as I mentioned, Typekit is a part of your Creative Cloud membership. For those of you unfamiliar with Typekit, it's over 1,000 fonts for web and desktop from over 150 different foundries at a value of over 40,000 US, and all of these fonts are licensed legally to you for the duration of your Creative Cloud membership, which means that you can use any of these fonts in any of your productions, in any of your packages, in any of your magazines, in any of your iPad, books, or what have you, legally licensed, good to go, right? So Typekit, and it's easier than ever before to manage fonts and to work with fonts. So if I go ahead and add fonts from Typekit, it's going to take me to the Typekit site. Let's browse some fonts. And again, you'll see you've got all different types of classifications here, ways to search. If I only want to see the fonts that are available for desktop use, I can click here. We can sort by properties, width, weight, X height, classification. So I don't want, I only want serif fonts. And you'll see this keeps reflowing here. So let's say this one here, Kinesis Pro 3, use fonts. Okay. You get to choose the flavors of the fonts that you want. So maybe we'll just choose the regular and the bold. Kinesis Pro 3, sync selected fonts, and we're done. That's it. You don't have to go looking for font book on the Mac. You don't have to go looking for whatever it is on the PC. I always forget, and then I have to Google it, and then I feel silly for having to Google something that I should remember. Because it's a drag. With Typekit, it's done automatically, and now you'll see if I go back to my font list here, Kinesis Pro 3. By the way, if you've got Photoshop open and running and you need to grab a font, if you've got After Effects open and running, InDesign open and running, you grab a font, it's instantly available to you in the app. You don't even have to close it. Okay? Can you use these fonts in Microsoft Word? Yes. Anywhere. Okay? Very easy, 1,000 fonts, Typekit. Can't underestimate how awesome that is as part of your membership. We also have something new introduced in June called the Creative Cloud Market. This is 25,000 to date pieces of vector art, clip art, patterns, all kinds of cool graphical and sonic elements designed by Adobe users, by designers, by a lot of Behance members, which is a great way to expose their content to the masses. And again, this is 25,000 royalty-free pieces of content for you to use in your productions. If you're looking for a graphic of a microphone, you can use the search engine, search on microphone, it's going to pull up some right here. Let's just try that while I'm here. So I want to find microphone. Okay? Look at that. We've even got one designed by Vasava. You guys know Vasava, the agency? Yeah. Here, free for you. Vasava. Look at this. These are just microphones. How could there possibly be so many microphone options? Yeah, it's 25,000. Well, not microphones altogether. You get the idea. Creative Cloud market assets. And then the last part here, of course, is the community. And as I mentioned, Behance, community of several million users from around the world, right? I myself am Jason Levine on Behance. I do photography, music, cinematography, animation. You can see all the various different things that I do here. I do a lot of sort of artsy photography and then some silly things as well. The nicest thing about Behance, though, that I like to tell people is that this is a network of your creative peers, okay? This is a network of people who truly want to inspire and be inspired. So if you're looking for a place to, again, showcase your artistry, your actual work, this is where it's happening. And you can see the kinds of comments and things that people leave. It's not just about, oh, that's awesome, man, that's cool, but they're actually going to give you constructive commentary as well. And more so than any other social creative network that I've seen, Behance caters to this, not this. They don't even offer this. It's all about appreciation, about inspiring creativity. And while I have not gone through every comment of the 2.5 million members who post projects on Behance, in the year plus that I've been on there posting my own stuff, I've never seen one comment that says, "You stink, your work is garbage, you should quit now and become, you know, a bathroom cleaner or something." Not that there's anything wrong with that. You get the idea. That doesn't exist there, because these are creatives who are looking to inspire and get inspired. It's changed the way I think about creative communities, and it can for you too, and it's also part of your membership along with the Behance Pro site. All right? So many things in Creative Cloud. Apps, mobile apps, single sign-on, market, fonts, file storage, community, and the promise of continuous innovation. My friends, that's all the time we have for today. If you have any more questions, please come visit us at the other side of the booth. If you're not already a member, sign up today. It's free. You can download any of our apps. You can begin using Creative Cloud storage. 30 days, fully functional, all the apps are. Come visit me on Behance. It's free to appreciate, so by all means, go over and check some stuff out. And thank you ever so much for your time. We'll see you next time. Thank you.